Tonight, the sudden death of a small child, a major crime scene set up after a 4-year-old girl was found dead inside a Brisbane home. A smooth return to the classroom, hundreds of thousands of students leave behind home learning for a new way of life at school. The Premier sets her sights on workers, indicating restrictions could be eased earlier and further for those who follow a safe plan. Comedian Celeste Barber loses her fight to distribute her $51 million bushfire campaign to other charities. And the NRL charges towards the restart, with plans to have fans in stadiums within weeks. But will the Premiers agree?
This is 10 News First Queensland with Georgina Lewis.
Good evening. First tonight, tragedy in Cannon Hill after the grim discovery of the body of a 4-year-old girl in a home. A crime scene has been in place since 9:30 this morning, with dozens of detectives and forensic officers investigating her death. Chris Campy is at Cannon Hill. Chris, what do we know?
Georgie, an extensive contingent of police and ambulance crews rushed here to Bent Street early this morning and shortly after closed this entire street off as they commenced an investigation focused on the property which inside, horrifically, they'd found the body of the little girl. Now, witnesses in the street at the time say there was a number of people outside that house, some very young children, including some still in nappies. Now, police have confirmed a short time ago that the family of the little girl are assisting detectives with their investigation. We understand they've been taken to another location while their home remains tonight a crime scene. Forensic crews have spent the whole day sifting through that site, looking for any clues as to what may have happened. Now, it was, for residents and those in the street, it was quite a confronting sight, especially just after the morning school traffic with the Cannon Hill Anglican College just metres away.
I wasn't sure. I honestly thought there was a problem at the school, which made me feel a bit sick, thinking it was children, which in the case it turned out to be, which is quite sad. There was a couple little children. I seen one little child, definitely a little child about 2 in nappies there, talking to a police officer or being entertained by a police officer, which was a bit close to home.
Now, despite repeated inquiries by the media this afternoon, police haven't made any further comment other than to say if anyone can assist detectives with their investigation, they are of course asked to come forward. But some 8 hours now after this tragic discovery, we're still no closer to knowing if this was a tragic accident or something more sinister.
Thank you, Chris. Live there at Cannon Hill. If there was ever a sign life is beginning to resemble something normal, we got it today. 700,000 students returned to schools across Queensland, meaning every year is now back in classrooms. But it is a whole new learning experience with major changes to keep kids safe.
It felt like the first day of school all over again.
Have a great day. Love you.
After 8 long weeks, years 2 to 10 are now back in classrooms.
Have you been missing the schoolwork?
No.
Almost every single student couldn't wait for one thing.
I actually get to see my friends and my teachers and actually be in the classroom.
Very excited to see my friends.
Because I really want to see my friend Kale again, and I really want to have one more play date with him.
Leaving behind the challenge of learning from home.
It was a bit hard. My parents could understand a bit, but not some, because they didn't know what we were learning about.
To have them back here today, it does have that sense of going back to normality.
But schools aren't the same as what students remember. The new normal includes hand sanitising before every class, socially distant desks and staggered pick-up, drop-off and lunch times.
Yeah, we're hoping it doesn't take too long for it to be back to the way it was pre-COVID.
At Carrara on the Gold Coast, they made a big song and dance about being back. And there's plenty to celebrate of Prep Year 1, 11 and 12 students who returned 2 weeks ago. Attendance has been around 80%.
Our teachers are really excited. School without kids is weird.
It's an adjustment for mums and dads too, no longer having to juggle working from home and teaching.
I'm trying not to take it personally, but they bounced out of bed this morning so eager to get back to see their friends and their teacher.
Hot coffee and relaxing for a couple of hours, hopefully quiet, peace and quiet.
Even though COVID-19 has delayed learning and disrupted so much, it has taught some students a very important lesson.
I realised school is a lot more fun than sitting at home on a computer.
I've missed it so much. I didn't think I'd miss it this much.
A new appreciation for school, not just from kids, but parents too.
And John Paul joins us now from Barton. JP, what's the plan if there is a confirmed case at a school?
Georgie, it will be a rapid response to control the spread of coronavirus. What does that mean? Well, the Education Department says if there is a confirmed case at a school, it will be temporarily closed to allow for urgent contact tracing and a deep clean of learning facilities. Now, the Premier says that she is confident with schools being back today and the arrangements that have been made. If someone does test positive, it's not just a student, it could be a staff member, a parent or a volunteer. Excursions, group assemblies and inter-school sports have all been cancelled to avoid big group gatherings. We did get some more good news on the health front today. There are no new confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Queensland. Georgie?
That is good news. Thank you, John Paul. Now that back to school is off the Premier's to-do list, she wants more Queenslanders back to work. Today, Anastasia Palaszczuk gave her strongest indication yet. Restrictions may be eased further for venues.
It's been too long between drinks at the Everton Park Hotel.
It's exhilarating, being out of the business for 7 weeks and walking back in today and, the team are engaged, they're excited.
Dining reopening in the cafe, but managers say they've got the room to seat many more patrons.
When you compare the burger shop next door, which can have 10 people into it, in comparison to a space here that would generally seat 500 people, in terms of social distancing and safe measures in place, I think there's no issue there.
The limit on venues increases to 20 from June 12. Today, the Premier indicating more people could be allowed to dine in.
If the COVID-safe plans are in place, they will be allowed to have more in. So at the end of this month, we'll be able to make that decision. As long as everyone follows those plans, I think it's going to be very positively received by the government.
She's also positive about plans to ease restrictions in North Queensland, following calls to allow travel between regional centres from Mackay to Cairns.
We know our tourism events and hospitality industry is on its knees. We are losing $90 million a week between our regions and we are losing several thousand jobs at risk.
On the face of it, it sounds very, very feasible, so I've asked them to submit that plan to government.
The Premier will hold meetings this week with tourism leaders on the Gold Coast, where the government's facing intense pressure to lift border closures sooner.
I think what Queenslanders need is clarity and certainty, and when they're getting mixed messages from their politicians, it adds to the confusion.
The construction industry also ramping up its cries for help, calling for $40,000 grants for all new homes.
This is about stimulating construction and stimulating it now, because we know from August onwards new house builds are going to be down by 40%.
Claire Barnes for 10 News First.
Australia's decimated tourism industry could be in line for more federal government support. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg has hinted it could benefit from the $60 billion accounting fiasco in JobKeeper payments, but has ruled out expanding the program to help other struggling industries.
Keeping up with the Morrison ministry has been chaotic these past few days.
I didn't use any expletives.
The economic team hustling hard to explain the $60 billion JobKeeper blunder.
That health miracle has had a real economic benefit.
Well, firstly, it was an estimate.
They incorrectly filled in a form.
But at the end of the day...
And of course, I take responsibility for the estimates variation.
The estimated cost of the program has been nearly halved from $130 billion to about $70 billion.
The biggest error made in any budget by any government at any point.
It means the actual number of workers receiving support is closer to 3.5 million, not 6.5 million initially touted by the government.
Because of this stuff up, there is now absolutely no excuse
to exclude workers at Australian universities from getting access to JobKeeper payments.
But the program won't be expanded.
There is no money to be reallocated.
Be brutal about it. It's like finding out you've got an extra $20,000 on your credit card. You just say, oh, beauty, I'll go out and buy a heap of good electrical goods and clothes, and this money's got to be paid back.
There are, however, positive signs for the struggling tourism industry.
The tourism sector could be one sector that's going to be in need of further support, and that's what we will look at.
New figures also show 1/3 of those accessing their superannuation early are under the age of 30.
The government is in many ways robbing them of a decent retirement.
The Prime Minister will address the National Press Club tomorrow, where he's expected to outline how he plans to get the economy out of intensive care through reforms to skills and industrial relations. And reiterate the government won't borrow from future generations what it can't return in higher standards of living. Tegan George for 10 News First.
The family of teenager Keen English says they're devastated by the young man's death. 3 men aged between 18 and 22 have been charged with his murder, as well as 1 count each of armed robbery. Police suspect Keen was trying to escape his alleged attackers when he fell to his death from a Gold Coast balcony early Saturday morning. Their cases were briefly mentioned in court today and are due back in August. A judge has ruled the record-breaking bushfire funds raised by Australian comedian Celeste Barber won't go as far as many hoped. The $51 million will only be issued to the Rural Fire Service and cannot be given to other charities or brigades.
Celeste Barber has always believed in people power.
We need to look after each other.
But no number of people could have changed today's decision, because the moment she chose the New South Wales Rural Fire Service as the recipient of her multi-million-dollar fundraising effort, it was bound by law. The comedian raised more than $51 million to help those hit by Australia's deadly summer of bushfires.
It's so much money. It's so much money.
But her millions of online followers saw her attract donations from all over the world, so she widened the net, pledging money to South Australian and Victorian volunteers, wildlife organisations and to those families who'd lost everything.
We're going to keep pushing. Let's get more money for them, because they are going to disperse it in such an incredible way.
But rules governing the RFS Trust, she later realised, meant it could only be spent on in-house resources and training.
I'm all like, let's just kind of give it to all these different places. Turns out it's not that easy because there's laws or something involved.
So the trustees went to the Supreme Court to ask if the money could go to other charities, firefighting services in other Australian states and territories that would provide relief to people and animals impacted by the fires.
The court answers that question no.
What it can be spent on is supporting injured firefighters or the families of those killed on duty, physical and mental health training and resources, and to help volunteers and brigades upskill.
When you start talking about helmets maybe worth something like $200 and you've got 70,000 people, it takes a lot of money up, and things like respiratory protection.
Justice Michael Slattery described Celeste as a spirited citizen whose appeal was a spectacular success. But in another blow to those who dug deep, the charity fund will need to be used to cover the legal costs of the RFS and the Attorney General that were incurred while making this decision.
Friendly reminder, comedian that raised money, not lawyer, politician, accountant lady that is the boss of the world.
The lessons learned in that horror bushfire season that will better equip everyone in the future. Kimberly Pratt for 10 News First.
And coming up, the grim warning by experts on day 1 of the Bushfire Royal Commission. Also, powers out, the spectacular moment 8 chimneys came crashing down. Plus, a once-in-a-decade storm blasts our west coast. And the AFL releases its new draw, what it means for the Lions and Suns, coming up in sport.
The good old MasterChef relay.
It'll be the toughest team relay ever attempted.
We're doing 2 dishes instead of 1.
You must keep a safe distance from each other at all times.
It's not going to be easy.
Oh my God. I can't believe I've done this. I've cut my little finger. Oh, this is not good. This is not good.
The toughest team relay. 7:30 tonight on 10.
And MasterChef's greatest ever dish is coming.
I suddenly realized we're all in this together.
That feels especially true, given what's going on. It is good to know that our super will help us and our economy bounce back. And if you're with one of these, your super is invested in things that create jobs and keep Aussie businesses strong, delivering good long-term returns that benefit all of us. After all,
we're all in this together.
In the universe, stars are born every day. Just like in Cobden, Western Victoria, where for over 93 years we've created not just butter, but a star. Western Star. More than butter.
In a time of need, it's nice to be able to concentrate on the things that matter most. At KM Smith, for you, we think of everything.
Different is making rather than buying, and saving rather than discarding. Embrace different and find the glad in it.
More Queenslanders trust RACQ to insure their car when it matters most. With access to 24/7 local claim support, plus our network of repairers. There's more for members with RACQ Comprehensive Car Insurance.
Every 14 minutes, someone finds love on eHarmony. Now with more matches, a new compatibility quiz with deeper insights and enhanced messaging. The new eHarmony experience is better than ever. Start something real with someone right.
Together, we're getting there. And driving away has never felt better, especially with the incredible drive-away price on the new Lexus RX, starting from $69,888. Contact your Lexus dealer today.
Tonight, Hayley, Mick and Anne are ready to rumble with Ed and Sam. On You, Have You Been Paying Attention?
Well, good afternoon. Dave Andrews here, wrapping up the first day of the working week, and the road's not too bad this afternoon, coming off the Gateway, which is a little bit slow up around the top end, just around Bracken Ridge, looking a little bit slow coming up onto the Bruce Highway. The run on Gympie Road through Kedron and Chermside is okay. Bit of traffic at Beams Road through Castledine for that northbound run up towards the Bruce Highway. Not too bad on the Western Freeway outbound. That's looking fairly good at this stage of the afternoon from Mount Cootha out towards Victory Pocket. That is looking A-OK. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Palm Lake Resort and Georgie. I'll be back to check the roads again for you later in the bulletin.
We'll see you again soon. Thank you, Dave. Australia's horrific summer of bushfires was our worst in recorded history, but experts have told the Royal Commission those awful scenes will come again.
For those who lived it, the sights and sounds of our summer of bushfires are as vivid now as they were then.
The wall of flames were on three sides of him, and he decided then that he couldn't do anything further.
Sue Townsend and her husband lost their home in Tumbalwamba. Those firestorms also destroyed dozens of homes in nearby Batlow. She says confusion and red tape made finding temporary accommodation difficult.
It was really bedlam because people were in shock, there was a lot of people around, and people were only given 2 or 3 days.
The Royal Commission was today told fire seasons like this one won't be a one-off event.
The trends probably load the dice towards worse fire seasons in general. So unless it rains a lot in 2021, you would expect, on average, to have a significant fire season.
The Commission heard our bushfires came after 3 years of significantly reduced rainfall on the east coast, combined with some of the highest temperatures on record. And with Australia and the world warming, we should expect natural disasters to get worse.
There's an element of
locked in, but some of these are locked in because of emissions that we've already had, yes.
Experts say, mercifully, this year's bushfire season is unlikely to be as bad as last because we've already had more rain. But the Royal Commission today heard that preparations for it have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The recovery from the devastating impacts of the 2019-2020 bushfire season has been slowed and fragmented. Planning for future seasons appears to have been interrupted.
In the midst of a pandemic, it's easy to forget those still hurting and just what might be coming next. Ursula Hager for 10 News First.
The NRL restart is just days away and getting fans back into the stadiums could be closer than we thought. Peter V'landys wants to welcome crowds from July the 1st with appropriate social distancing, but needs to convince the premiers his plan is safe.
No one is more desperate for footy than Simon Tayoun.
It's very hard with no footy, very hard. I miss the footy a lot.
If you don't know the name, surely this rings a bell. The Raiders Viking clap has become famous and Simon is the leader. The man on the drum, the man behind the mask.
He's become a celebrity, just about.
On Saturday night, Canberra played the Storm in Melbourne. Simon was planning on making the 8-hour journey to do the Viking clap in the car park before and after the game.
Well, that's absolutely crazy. How could you do that? Who would do that?
He will be at Campbelltown the week after. When the boys get off the bus, will you try and get them to do the clap?
Yes, we try to do if they do it. If not, but still we're gonna do it. Sit in my car, we can watch the game on the phone and cheer them from outside.
In just 5 weeks' time, Peter V'landys wants players to be running out to their fans. At a ground like ANZ Stadium, that could mean a crowd of around 20,000, socially distanced, of course.
I think for sure they let me go, number one supporter.
We can't get too excited just yet.
We're working our way through the list and that's not on the list as yet.
But there's hope.
We are considering every organisation's needs and are happy to work with them on looking at how to create that sort of COVID-safer environment.
Until then, some clubs may use cutouts of fans like they've done in overseas soccer leagues, while Simon is trying to grow his army. Emma Lawrence for 10 News First.
After 55 years, a Victorian landmark came crashing down today in a spectacular cloud of dust. 8 chimneys at the Hazelwood Power Station were reduced to rubble in a matter of seconds.
55 years of history wiped from the skyline in a matter of minutes. Not in one huge explosion, but one at a time, tumbling down in sequence like a giant set of dominoes.
For some people, this event represents change and renewal. For others, it's the end of an era.
Locals lined the streets to see the final clouds billow up from this Morwell landmark.
Sad to see the old girl go.
My dad worked there for 30-odd years and my brother worked there and my brother-in-law worked there.
The Hazelwood powered the Latrobe Valley economy for more than half a century until its closure 3 years ago.
I had 33 years of shift work at Hazelwood.
Each of the 8 towers stood 137 metres tall. In a world concerned with climate change and clean power, this was the perfect metaphor for an industry in decline.
I think it represents something, the end of an era, maybe the beginning of a new era.
Over the next decade, the plan is to turn this area into agricultural land and a recreational site, starting with building a lake in the Coal Hole for irrigation, fishing and water sports. But with this area being 17 kilometres around, it's going to take 11 years to fill.
It's our aspiration and hope that one day before too long, they can take a boat to a full pit lake here behind me and tell the kids and the grandkids about the work they did here.
But first, the big clean-up following the biggest blow-up Latrobe has ever seen. Natasha Rexelby for 10 News First.
There's a massive clean-up underway in WA after a rare and dangerous storm pummeled the state's coast. The once-in-a-decade weather event saw cyclonic winds hit more than 3,000 kilometres of coastline, tearing apart buildings and infrastructure and causing widespread flooding and coastal erosion.
It certainly was a very rare event for WA because of the large area affected and the areas which were experiencing dangerous weather conditions.
The storm was the result of a tropical cyclone mixing with a low pressure system off the coast. Well, time now for an early weather check. Josh, there was a big swell for the east coast.
That's right, Georgia. It really kicked off yesterday along the New South Wales coast. We saw waves of 5 to 7 metres. Even the great Kelly Slater was out there amongst it. And then a little bit further north today, we saw that surf pumping around areas like Snapper today. We had those swells, not as large as the New South Wales coast, but certainly up around the 2 to 3 metre mark during some periods of Sunday and Monday. You can see that the lineup here, very crowded indeed, but some very nice right-handers on offer there today for the board riders. So a beautiful day unfolding for the surfers. It was quite chilly again this morning. We had clear skies overnight and light winds. There's that low pressure system responsible for that very large surf down the east coast. But the temperatures this morning, we got down to 5 degrees in Ipswich. That was 5 below average for this time of year. Even Brisbane Airport dipped to 8.6 degrees. That was 4.5 below average. And the northwestern Queensland also very chilly. We warmed up to 25 in Brisbane this afternoon and also for Ipswich, but we'll have all the details at 5 to 6.
We'll see you then. Thank you, Josh. Ahead, public uproar in the UK as Boris Johnson defends his aide caught flouting lockdown rules. Also, mass crowds turn out for Memorial Day despite pleas for social distancing. And Jacinda Ardern caught in the crossfire of an earthquake live on air.
At Palm Lake Resort, luxury over 50s designer living has arrived. Luxury designer homes available right now. Palm Lake Resort. This is your time.
Sometimes an answer is there 1 minute and gone the next.
Glenn, how have you been coping with lockdown?
I forgot what I was going to say.
Well, let's see what Nick, Hayley and Anne have to say with Ed and Sam on new Have You Been Paying Attention tonight.
Whether you're turning portraits into paintings and floors into art rooms, we're here for all those messy little moments.
At Bunnings, we've got some great DIY bundles to help you keep busy while you're safe at home. Simply check out the projects online, order over the phone using our DIY hotline, and we'll bundle up everything you need. We'll then deliver it to your door.
You know you'll make a great mum one day.
Wise men say.
You know, I had the weirdest cravings when I was pregnant with you. Pickles and ice cream.
Oh, if I can help falling in love with you.
Don't miss our biggest sale yet. It's Bridgestone Select's Mega Sale. 4th tyre free on big Bridgestone brands and car and SUV tyres to suit most vehicles. Plus cashback on jeweller. You're always in safe hands at your local Bridgestone Select.
Can't wait to get back to the footy. Oh, so good. Oh, there's been a spill. He picks up the crumbs, goes left, goes right. He's done it back in the bathroom.
Hot food, just $3 at 7-Eleven.
Are you unable to work due to illness or injury? You could claim insurance as part of your super. Talk to Australia's #1 law firm today. Morris Blackburn Lawyers will maximise your claim. Call for your free super check now. It costs nothing to know where you stand.
For relief from frequent heartburn, there's an alternative to prescription medicine. New Zanzol 24-hour. Available from your pharmacist without a prescription, Zanzol 24-hour lets you take control of heartburn and acid reflux on your own terms. By reducing stomach acid production, it provides relief from the burning sensation in the chest that occurs when stomach acid rises up into the esophagus. So take control of your heartburn. Choose Zanzol 24-hour today.
Smart Aussies are future-proofing their homes and cutting their energy bills with Solar Heart. Now you can join them with $1,500 off our solar hot water and solar power packages, plus 60 months interest-free. Get smart. Get Solar Heart.
Don't miss a moment. New by Solven Duo Syrup is a 2-in-1 formula traditionally used to soothe an irritated throat and relieve an associated dry cough. By Solven Duo. Moments uninterrupted. Available at selected retailers.
It's the toughest team relay. And for the first time in the MasterChef kitchen.
You must keep a safe distance from each other.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been forced to defend his top advisor, who's accused of breaking lockdown rules. Dominic Cummings faces a police investigation as scientists and the PM's own political allies turn on him for backing the rule breaker.
Arriving at the UK Prime Minister's office in track pants, Dominic Cummings wasn't dressed to impress as his boss jumps through hoops to save his prized advisor.
He behaved responsibly and correctly.
But few believe that. Dominic Cummings, who masterminded Brexit, a thumping election victory and the UK's lockdown, left his London home during the height of the pandemic to stay at his parents' sprawling country estate, a 4-hour drive from London.
Did you offer to resign, Mr Cummings? Have you undermined the government's message?
He says it was for his kids.
On looking at the very severe childcare difficulties that presented themselves to Dominic Cummings and his family, I think that what they did was totally understandable.
He's offering no apology.
Why are you guys not social distancing?
A stickler for the rules now, he's also accused of travelling to visit this castle for his wife's birthday, all while 66 million other Brits are banned from visiting loved ones or saying farewell to dying relatives.
You must stay at home.
Protesters played Boris Johnson's stay-at-home message outside Mr Cummings' residence. The UK Civil Service account tweeted, then deleted. Arrogant and offensive. Can you imagine having to work with these truth twisters?
If I were Prime Minister, I'd have sacked Cummings.
Boris Johnson's strong support for Dominic Cummings shows just how powerful a man he is here at Downing Street, but it's done nothing to take the heat out of this crisis. The police are now investigating an official complaint about the breach of the lockdown laws as the death toll from the virus itself climbs towards 37,000 here in the UK. Phoebe Bowden for 10 News First, London.
The United States is a day or two away from hitting the grim milestone of 100,000 coronavirus deaths, and there still appears to be no plans for a moment of national mourning. Donald Trump was spotted on the golf course for a second day as more Americans flouted restrictions.
Memorial Day long weekend in America, and this is what social distancing apparently looks like in some parts of the United States. Thousands packed pool parties in the Ozarks for the unofficial start of summer, and there wasn't a mask in sight. In Daytona, police had to break up an impromptu street party.
There's two people out the sunroof throwing money.
Beaches were busy right up and down both coasts.
There was thousands of people. I mean, shoulder to shoulder, it felt like.
Thousands lined up at this Texas water park that reopened, defying state orders, and many churches across the country also breached restrictions after Donald Trump deemed them essential.
Church is essential.
The president was out golfing for a second day as the US death toll nears 100,000. I care, do you? Read one protester's sign outside. In an interview,
they're spying on me. They're spied on me. And that's not being paranoid, that's being fact.
The president offered no signs of mourning.
Would I shut it down again? No, because we understand it now much better. We didn't know anything about it. It was new.
You mean you would not have, in retrospect, shut down the...
I would have done exactly, we've done the exact moves that I would have done.
And on the national holiday to remember those who served, this Vietnam vet cried as he watched a socially distant parade given in his honour.
It was amazing. I mean,
even though I'm sick, that they thought so much of me to come down and do that pass-through for me.
58,000 Americans died in the Vietnam War. In 4 months, this virus has already killed so many more. Eamon Ashton-Atkinson for 10 News First, New York.
Much of New Zealand has been shaken by a large earthquake, throwing stock from shelves and even rattling the Prime Minister. Jacinda Ardern was inside Parliament House in Wellington and live on TV when the 5.8 magnitude quake struck.
We're just having a bit of an earthquake here, Ryan. Quite a decent shake here.
All right.
But if you see things moving behind me...
Has it stopped,
The
Prime
beehive
Minister?
moves a little more than most.
The quake was centred north of Wellington and was quickly followed by 4 aftershocks, the strongest of 4.4 magnitude. And hopes are high NASA will be able to launch its first manned mission from US soil in 9 years later this week. The final preparations are underway, but thunderstorms and high winds are forecast for the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. America has had to rely on Russia to get astronauts to the space station after NASA retired the space shuttles in 2011. Well, stay with us. Tonight's top stories follow the break. Also, the Wagner brothers back in court as 60 Minutes launches an appeal against paying the family millions in defamation. And the concerning new findings on type 2 diabetes.
Tonight we chat to the RFS after the Supreme Court ruled where the $51 million raised by comedian Celeste Barber can be spent.
Students head back to school in some states, so what can be done to make sure no kids are left behind?
And we take a look at the safety measures some workplaces will introduce to their officers post-lockdown. Experts recommend a total bonk ban at work. Please respect the new rules, Waleed.
Haven't said that for the past 5 years. All that and more coming up at 6:30.
I think he's thinking about it.
It's the toughest team relay ever attempted.
We're doing 2 dishes instead of 1.
And for the first time in the MasterChef kitchen.
You must keep a safe distance from each other at all times.
It's not going to be easy.
The toughest team relay, tonight on 10.
At UE, we're all about how you use or don't use your car. So we're giving our clients and new clients temporary relief on their car insurance premiums if they're using their cars less right now. Go to UE.com.au. UE, you insured.
Supporting people with a disability is very close to my heart, and now I'm asking you to help too. This year, Endeavour Foundation is celebrating 69 years of helping people with a disability live their best lives. Help by buying a ticket in their June lottery to win this brand new $1 million prize home on the Sunshine Coast. This fully furnished 4-bed, 3-bath home comes with a beautiful pool, fire pit and $10,000 cashable gold. So buy your ticket at endeavourlotteries.com.au.
Harvey Norman bonus deals across a huge range of electrical products plus 60 months interest free. Get bonus delivery and tabletop installation on all 2020 65-inch TVs and larger. Plus buy a soundbar in the same transaction and we'll install that as well. Bonus delivery on selected washer and dryer packs. Bonus delivery on all LG French door fridges. Don't miss out. Bonus deals across a huge range of electrical products plus 60 months interest free. Shop in our spacious stores or shop online. But hurry, bonus deals end Tuesday at Harvey Norman.
You don't give in. You don't give up. You push on when most would have pushed off. You lend a hand, whether a hand was asked for or not. It's called Aussie Spirit for good reason, because it takes spirit to get through times like these. Lucky you've got it in spades. It's what inspires us to be by your side to help. Together we'll get through this. We always do. Search Toyota, here to help.
For stepping up in tough times. For doing the little things. For keeping your distance. And your sense of humour. For the courage you've shown. And protecting your community. Thanks, Australia. The changes to stop the coronavirus aren't easy, but they're working. Keep going. And don't forget to download the COVID Safe app today. Together, we're stopping the spread. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Slugger. See?
Steve.
Domino's is bringing New York to your living room with the new Tastier New Yorker range. Now with even more authentic ingredients like huge pepperoni, chunkier tomato sauce and a thinner New York crust. Try one from just $19.95 delivered from Domino's.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of school lunchboxes. With Coles Bakery Rolls 6-pack or loaf, just $2 every day. Coles Colby cheese slices 250-gram pack, $4.20 every day. Coles yogurt pouches, just 75 cents every day. And if you spend $150 in one transaction at Coles online, you'll save $10. Just enter the promo code COLES10. Offer ends May 26. Home delivery or click and collect, helping make school lunchboxes easier. At Coles, good things, great value.
Tonight, Hayley, Mick and Anne are ready to rumble with Ed and Sam. On You, Have You Been Paying Attention?
Hello again as we wrap things up tonight. We've got some good conditions now up the Gateway northbound from Nudgee all the way through to the Bruce Highway. Coronation Drive, bit of traffic coming in towards North Quay, but the run through towards Toowong is looking A-OK. Riverside Expressway and Captain Cook Bridge both in and out of the city, not doing too badly tonight. The run down the Pacific Motorway, good run out through Greenslopes and heading up the Bruce Highway. A little bit busy tonight as you head up towards that Burpengary area, but certainly not too bad. I'm Dave Andrews. Thanks to Palm Lake Resort. Have a great night. I'll be back to check the roads again for you tomorrow.
Tonight's top stories: a crime scene has been set up at a home in Cannon Hill where a 4-year-old girl was found dead this morning. Hundreds of thousands of Queensland students leave home learning for a different type of classroom experience under COVID-19. And the struggling tourism industry could be the winners from the $60 billion JobKeeper fiasco, as the Treasurer hints a review could include casuals and some visa holders. The Nine Network is appealing a court decision ordering them to pay millions to Toowoomba's Wagner brothers for defaming them over the Grantham floods. Lawyers for the company argue the compensation order was manifestly excessive. Brendan Savage has the details.
Last year, a Brisbane Supreme Court jury found a story run by Nine's 60 Minutes program had defamed Toowoomba's Wagner family by incorrectly insinuating they were responsible for lives lost in the 2011 Grantham floods. The Nine Network and Nick Cater, a journalist who was interviewed in the 60 Minutes segment, were ordered to pay the Wagners almost $3.7 million compensation. Today, in the Court of Appeal, Nine's lawyers argued the punishment handed down by Justice Peter Applegarth had been excessive, claiming the damages awarded were affected by a number of errors, including that the Wagners were compensated for Mr Cater's words twice, when the Nine Network and Nick Cater were ordered to pay separate amounts for the same defamatory imputations. It was also alleged Justice Applegarth made an error in awarding aggravated damages over Nine's failure to apologise, but lawyers argued it would have been inappropriate to say sorry before the jury's decision because Nine believed it had a reasonable defence. If their appeal is successful, they want the costs orders overturned and the damages reassessed. The court has reserved its decision.
Alarming results from a study into type 2 diabetes have revealed diabetics are at a dramatically higher risk of developing deadly cancers and dementia. It's prompted a warning to patients not to skip blood tests or visits to the doctor.
Robert Miller has always been vigilant about keeping his type 2 diabetes under control.
My father had diabetes and he didn't look after himself and unfortunately had to have both legs amputated below the knee.
But the real wake-up call came 3 years ago when the 79-year-old grandfather was diagnosed with bowel cancer.
You could have it out, or if you left it in, you'd be dead in 6 months. That was the diagnosis.
A study of more than 2 million people reveals the ever-expanding list of conditions that type 2 diabetics are susceptible to. They're 60% more likely to develop dementia and face an alarming risk of cancer, including a 300% higher chance of pancreatic cancer and a 200% increased likelihood of liver cancer.
Cancer cells use a lot of sugar, a lot of glucose, and so in people with diabetes the sugar levels are high, and so there's lots of fuel around for those cancer cells to grow more rapidly.
Doctors say regular checkups can be life-saving, and they've warned patients not to skip or delay medical appointments during the coronavirus pandemic.
We need to keep these things going, otherwise we'll pay the price next year.
Mr. Miller had surgery to remove his cancer and is now even more focused on staying healthy with a good diet and plenty of exercise.
You just assume you're going to be healthy, and it's not until, to use your good word, that wake-up call arrives that you realise that you can't take it for granted and you have to be proactive.
Estelle Lewis for 10 News First.
It's sport time now, Jono. Not a lot of sympathy for the Reds' departing players.
No, not too much at all, Georgie. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Coming up, skipper Liam Wright admits he was disappointed in the Reds' rebels, but sees a silver lining. Details are next. Also, Andrew McCulloch in new colours as he speaks about his sudden Broncos exit. And even the worst rounds can have good moments, as NFL legend Tom Brady found out.
At Palm Lake Resort, luxury over 50s designer living has arrived. Luxury designer homes available right now. Palm Lake Resort. This is your time.
Why the MasterChef judges weren't hooked on Tracy's fish dish. Next.
It's the show that turns headlines into punchlines.
Kitty, how did you know to wear the same fabric as Malcolm's curtain?
So, for the biggest laughs on TV...
Can I just have the answer, Tom?
It's going to be a long season, folks.
Make sure you're paying attention tonight.
Hi, mate.
Hey, Dad.
How's the new place?
Yeah, it's really good.
What have you been up to?
Not much. No, I miss you guys. Can you believe it? I actually miss your cooking too.
I don't miss a thing. I got the new Woolies Rewards app.
Now you'll never miss an offer with everything in one place. Track your points, view your Woolworths e-receipts, and you can access your personalised offers so you save even more.
I do miss you, mate.
It's the brand new way to get your Woolies worth.
That's why I pick Woolies.
At Bunnings, we've got some great craft bundles to help you keep busy while you're safe at home. Simply check out the projects online, order over the phone using our DIY hotline, and we'll bundle up everything you need. We'll then deliver it to your door.
A promise is something Brighton Homes have always taken seriously. They're committed to building homes that let life in. But right now, a promise is more important than ever. Brighton promises that their homes will still embrace the best in Queensland living, with flexible deposit conditions and a price hold of up to 20 months. Plus, with a considerate cashback of up to 30 grand, you know the future is better with Brighton.
Save 20% on your second policy when you buy new, eligible Suncorp home and car insurance together before July 10. Helping you save when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
Quality, style, exceptional value. A Mazda stands out. At the Mazda Standout End of Financial Year event, get a Mazda CX-5 Max from $32,990 drive away. Search Mazda offers now.
JB Hi-Fi's Big Screen Bonanza is on. Check out the hottest deals on big screen TVs 75-inch and above. Like a bonus $250 JB coupon with new release Samsung TVs. And free delivery and Walmart installation on LG. Buy in-store, online, click and collect or get it delivered. JB, you've done it again.
Hi guys, notice anything? Oh, look at these grays. For a second I thought, okay Grace, I'm ready to see you, but I'm not. I am not ready for this much gray.
Excellence Creme by L'Oreal Paris.
I don't think there's ever going to be a better before and after.
3 steps for 100% gray coverage and rich, radiant color.
Oh my God, I'm so happy. Boom! Is what I'm talking about. Self-care is self-worth because now more than ever, we're all worth it.
Well, for Benson now, for classic catcher's gold. Catch it! Yes! Well held, son! Get him into the cordon!
I've seen a car go off a cliff with more grace than that, but geez, the big man has great hands.
That Make It Look Easy moment was brought to you by Sportsbet's NRL Same Game Multi. Combine your favourite markets, like South to win, into both Latrell and Tedesco to score, and you'll get bigger odds. Same Game Multi from Sportsbet.
It's the toughest team relay. And for the first time in the MasterChef kitchen.
You must keep a safe distance from each other.
Welcome back. He was relegated to the bench role, but Andrew McCulloch insists there was no bad blood behind his Broncos exit. Days after severing ties with the club, the veteran hooker says it was an opportunity he couldn't turn down.
For the first time in his 260-game career, Andrew McCulloch's not in Broncos colours.
Getting out of my comfort zone, a new challenge, a new chapter, a fresh lease of life.
Coming off the bench for Brisbane, he's chasing more minutes in Newcastle. Released last week, McCulloch's cards were seemingly marked during last year's player reviews. Despite rumblings he was on the outer, the hooker says there's no bad blood.
I think I've enough runs on the board to think that I wasn't a selfish person and that I just wanted to go down and, with the opportunity that Adam presented and to do my best.
With another year option in his favour for 2021, McCulloch could trigger a return to Red Hill if he has no other alternative.
I'm just really focused and I've got full energy that I want to just do the best I can for this club, and I'll worry about later on in the year whatever happens.
His former club restart the season in 3 days. Anthony Seibold confident his side has grown from the trials of the mid-season break.
I feel like the players have handled the challenge exceptionally well. I think the guys have really grown.
The Titans are hoping they've grown too as they draw close to nearly 12 months without a win.
Having fun again. We haven't won a game since last year, around 13, but we just need to get back to having fun and knowing our roles, and then hopefully that, again, it's a domino effect.
Extra motivation for the Rabbitohs-bound Arrow.
I don't want to leave on bad terms. I want to leave on good terms and have the best year that I've had for the club.
A minor concern for the Titans this afternoon, with Anthony Don leaving training early with a knee issue. Veronica Eggleton for 10 News First.
Reds captain Liam Wright admits he was surprised and disappointed by his 3 former teammates' decision to refuse a pay cut. But he believes their departures could instead become a positive, saying they now know who's committed to the cause.
No one has taken the last week to heart more than Reds captain Liam Wright.
I've been locker buddies with Isaac for the last 3 years, so it was a bit surprising.
The club was left with no choice but to release Isaac Rodder, Harry Hockings and Isaac Lucas. The skipper, like many in Australian rugby, never saw it coming.
Initially we were quite disappointed. We've had some time to digest it now. As I said, they're great mates. We've spent a lot of time with them over the years, and so we were disappointed to see them go.
With the benefit of a few days to think it over and a new haircut, he now believes the pay cuts will galvanise the group, knowing those that are left are there for the right reasons.
It reaffirms our whole squad. We've got staff who've taken that as well, and it just makes sure that everyone who wants to be here is really willing to put in.
All smiles at the Gabba today, following the AFL's round 2 to 5 fixture release, which sees the Lions' next 4 games in Brisbane.
That's a plus. Yeah, that is a plus, especially the Perth trip. That's a long way.
The Suns haven't fared as well, forced to travel to Geelong in round 5, while for both Adelaide teams they'll return against each other at home, but they haven't managed to avoid the Gold Coast hub after all.
The plan at the moment is certainly to leave them in Queensland for that period. We need to create some certainty.
Fans won't be able to attend in this block, but it's not far away.
Any opportunity to have fans attend games, we'll certainly embrace.
News Greg Swan welcomed, revealing just 10% of club members asked for a refund, effectively saving the club.
If we were having to give refunds and massive amounts of money, we'd be in more trouble than we already are.
Josh McLean for 10 News First.
Andrew Bogut has told the world he's quit playing for the Sydney Kings, but the former NBA champion stressed on social media that his basketball career is not over. He says he's taking a break because the future does not look too clear, most notably in regards to sporting leagues worldwide. This, by no means, is a retirement note.
Andrew speaks for himself, and what he said today is 100% accurate. He's still working through where he is and what his options are and what he'd like to do, and has he still got that itch that needs to be scratched.
With the Olympics postponed until 2021, his one last hurrah for the Boomers must also be in doubt. For a few hours at least, the NFL's most successful quarterback, Tom Brady, actually looked human, hacking around in a celebrity golf match. He partnered with Phil Mickelson against longtime rival Peyton Manning and Tiger Woods. With Charles Barkley sledging from the commentary box, Brady produced this.
Get him, go in!
Oh, you made it! Wow! Shut your mouth, Chuck. Take a look at that medicine.
It cost four-time major winner Brooks Koepka 100 grand, who bet Brady he couldn't make a par on the front nine. It wasn't enough for the win, Team Tiger taking the match, but for raising more than $32 million for charity, they can all take home our play of the day. Nice socially distanced high five.
Not bad for charity, 32 million.
Good
well
indeed,
done.
yeah.
Thanks, Jono. Will the chilly mornings continue this week? Josh has all the details next.
Comedian Troy Kinney's bringing the laughs next on The Project.
Tonight, the race is on. At 7:30, it's MasterChef's toughest team relay ever.
Here they come!
Then the race continues, but are they paying attention?
Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. Can we get Glenn's carer around?
Be a part of Tam's must-see Monday race.
With Toyota Warranty Advantage covering you for at least 5 years, still feeling it, Mick.
Toyota value stays with you, like Kluger two-wheel drive GX Auto. Drive away from $41,990. Older feeling. Toyota.
Introducing Jumpstart by Light and Easy, the simple program that will help fast-track your weight loss success, improve your health, and have your taste buds jumping for joy. Jumpstart your weight loss and health goals today with Light and Easy.
AAMI has always helped Australians get back on the road. But now, more than ever, it's vital those on the front line get to where they need to be. That's why we're now offering free roadside assist to all doctors, nurses, hospital staff and first responders Australia-wide until the end of the year. AAMI and non-AAMI customers. Here's to supporting the everyday heroes who are supporting the rest of us. To take advantage of this offer, go to aami.com.au.
Lucky you're with AAMI.
We believe experiencing life helps build your child's immunity and resilience. That's why we've developed Aptamil Toddler. With scientifically proven ingredients that nutritionally support their immune system and cognitive function. Build their resilience every day. Aptamil Toddler. Raise them resilient.
A third-generation butcher, born and bred. Pop's traditional recipes, Philly's head. His award-winning sausages are so sublime, you can enjoy these beauties anytime. The British Sausage, Ham and Bacon Company. Australian made the British way.
Head to Macca's if a little treat is what you need and grab 24 chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 or a large sundae for only $3. For your Macca's run, contact-free, we'll be here.
Catch the Supercars stars taking on the world's best drivers and tracks in the BP Supercars All-Stars E-Series. Qualifying from 6 p.m, racing from 7. Live every Wednesday where you get your motorsport fix.
Even remotely, our home loan specialists can zoom into your home to help you save on your next loan.
When a cold disturbs your family's sleep, Vicks Vapor Rub relieves cough, nasal congestion, muscle aches and pains. They sleep, you sleep. Vicks Vapor Rub relieves 4 cough and cold symptoms.
From military man to muse, the soldier stripping down in the name of art. And our germ expose.
Germs and viruses can stay on surfaces for days on end.
Too small to see and too fast to stop. What you need to know to protect your family.
Oh my God.
Tomorrow on Studio 10.
Weather time, Josh. Will it be another cool start tomorrow?
It will indeed, Georgie. Good evening once again. We're expecting those frost patches around parts of the southeast inland, in particular the Darling Downs and Granite Belt. So another chilly one for Tuesday morning, and we'll get to that in just a moment. Firstly, to the Ridges weather cam, where today in the city we hit tops of 25 degrees. Around about 1 above average for this time of year. The afternoon temperatures at the moment quite pleasant indeed compared to what we did see across the weekend when it was relatively cool. We had an overnight low of 12 degrees. A little bit cooler for Ipswich this morning, dipping down to around about 5 degrees. That was 5 below average. And right now in the city, quite comfortable, sitting on 19 degrees, humidity at 59%, and the winds are light at 6 kilometres per hour. But diving into the satellite tonight, it was clear skies for most of Queensland as we got through today. We've still got that low pressure system hovering off the New South Wales coast, sending in some damaging surf conditions and also some massive waves over the course of the weekend. Yesterday off Sydney, we saw wave heights of around about 5 metres, and even 11-time world champion Kelly Slater was out there getting amongst it. And a little bit further to the west, we had ex-tropical cyclone Magna also collide with the cold front emerging from the Southern Ocean. That has caused some very turbulent weather across the southwest of WA that has covered a large area indeed. In ahead of this system, we've got quite a bit of high cloud starting to edge into parts of South Australia. But moving into the synoptic chart tomorrow, we've got light winds across most of Queensland as we get through Tuesday. Should be fine and sunny for most areas of the state. That cold front that affected WA will start to slip into the bite as we get through Tuesday, and the low pressure system off the New South Wales coast will slowly edge a little bit further northwards. It still will propel some decent surf across areas of the southern coastline of Queensland. We saw some beautiful waves today off Snap at around about the 2 metre mark. In terms of rainfall, hard to come by tomorrow. It should be dry for most areas as mentioned. However, we're expecting those early morning frost patches across areas of the Darling Downs and Granite Belt, and a beautiful day unfolding across our inland centres, although it will be chilly first thing in the morning. Interstate and Sydney, after quite a dynamic weekend, we're looking at 19 with the chance of a shower persisting. Partly cloudy for Melbourne with 18, much the same in Adelaide hitting 17. Dry day for Hobart, 15 degrees at the top, and Perth going for the odd shower tomorrow and 17 degrees. Some cooler weather at the moment for the southwest of WA. Closer to home, a beautiful day for Cairns, and check out Atherton and Townsville. No cloud in sight, and a beautiful fine and sunny day for the Isa and Longreach. A chilly start for Roma, getting down to 3 overnight, 20 through the afternoon, and up to 24 degrees for Rocky, Bundaberg, Maryborough and Gympie. Into the southeast we roll. Patches of light frost in the south in the early morning. Overnight temperatures falling to between 3 and 12 degrees, with daytime temperatures reaching the low to mid-20s. Having a look at the bay, winds westerly 20 knots and the seas 1 metre. Sea surface temperatures at 23 degrees. Sunny and a top of 24 for Brisbane as we get through tomorrow, 25 on Wednesday and Thursday, and for Ipswich, looking chilly Tuesday, down to 5 degrees tomorrow morning, 7 degrees on Wednesday. Now, how would you like to win a year's supply of groceries? All you have to do is stay tuned to 10 News First and look out for the code word, and it could be you filling your trolley for free for the next 12 months. But make sure you also stay with us. I'll have the extended forecast for the Gold and Sunshine Coast coming up very shortly indeed.
Tragedy in Cannon Hill after the grim discovery of the body of a little girl. Tonight, detectives have set up a crime scene as they investigate how she died. The smooth transition from home learning to the classroom, with all Queensland students now back at school. And getting more people back to work. The Premier hints restrictions could be eased quicker and further for venues with the right plans. A little girl has been found dead and a crime scene has been in place at Cannon Hill since 9:30 this morning. Chris Campy reports.
Well, police forensic teams and officers remain here at Ben Street tonight as the investigation into this sudden death continues. They arrived at around 9:30 this morning, a large contingent of police and ambulance crews, and they responded to a house down the far end of this street where horrifically they found the body of this 4-year-old girl. Now, they immediately commenced an extensive investigation as officers moved in. That house has remained a crime scene for the entire day. We understand that the little girl's family are assisting detectives with their investigation. At the moment, their home remains blocked off. Now, for the residents and the tradies working in the street this morning, it was certainly quite a sight.
I heard cars coming up, a bit of commotion, and then all of a sudden I looked down, there's 1, 2, 3, count about 10 cop cars fly in, a few ambos, maybe 4 or 5.
But a full day after this horrific discovery, we're no closer to working out if this crime scene indicates whether this was a terrible accident or something more sinister as we await further police comment.
Face-to-face learning is back in Queensland, with 700,000 students returning to classrooms today. As John Paul Gonzo reports, their school experience has changed as extra measures are now in place to keep kids safe.
Schools across the state are bustling again with years 2 to 10 returning to classrooms today. For many, it felt like the first day all over again. There was a sense of nervous excitement as some kids were dropped off. Overwhelmingly, parents and students were relieved to say goodbye to homeschooling.
I actually get to see my friends and my teachers and actually be in the classroom.
It's been really great. I've missed it so much. I didn't think I'd miss it this much. I'm very excited to see my friends.
COVID-19 has changed so much and it's no different for schools. There's a range of extra precautions being taken to avoid a potential outbreak. That includes staggered lunch breaks. Parents are being urged to drop off their children and go instead of walking them in. And of course, there's increased sanitisation and cleaning.
The children will be washing their hands before they enter classrooms and after. We have plenty of soap and hand sanitiser.
To have them back here today, it does have that sense of going back to normality.
Prep students and years 1, 11 and 12 returned to school 2 weeks ago and attendance figures have been around 80%, which the government describes as encouraging.
The Premier says she's open to a plan to ease travel restrictions in North Queensland. As Claire Barnes reports, she's revealed talks are also underway to get more patrons into Queensland venues.
Well, it's back to school and now the Premier says she wants more Queenslanders back at work. She's given the strongest indication yet that restaurants, bars and cafes may have further restrictions eased. At the moment, venues are limited to 10 people, which will be increased to 20 on June 12. The Premier says discussions are underway with the industry.
If the COVID safe plans are in place, they will be allowed to have more in. So at the end of this month, we'll be able to make that decision.
The government is also open to the idea of creating a so-called travel bubble in North Queensland, allowing recreational travel between regional centres from Mackay to Cairns.
We know our tourism events and hospitality industry is on its knees. We are losing $90 million a week between our regions and we are losing several thousand jobs at risk.
Well, the Premier is due to hold meetings this week with tourism leaders on the Gold Coast to discuss issues around border closures.
The struggling tourism industry stands to benefit from the Morrison government's $60 billion JobKeeper fiasco. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg has ruled out expanding the eligibility criteria to include all casuals and some visa holders. But he says the federal government will look at providing additional support for industries that will take longer to reopen.
The tourism sector could be one sector that's going to be in need of further support, and that's what we will look at.
A review of the program is set down for next month. 3 men charged with the murder of teenager Keen English have had their matters mentioned in court. The 19-year-old died after falling from the 4th storey of a Gold Coast apartment block early Saturday. Police suspect he'd been trying to get away from his alleged attackers when he fell. None of the men appeared in court. Their matters were adjourned until August. Keen's family has released a statement saying they're devastated by his death. A rare and dangerous weather event has hit the West Australian coastline, causing widespread damage. A strong cold front has combined with the remnants of a cyclone, resulting in a destructive superstorm that stretched thousands of kilometres.
Australia's west coast battered by a once-in-a-decade storm. With it came ferocious winds, heavy rain and flooding. The destruction was widespread. Wind gusts reached 130 kilometres an hour, ripping buildings apart. Large trees have pierced car windows and blocked multiple roads. This roof was torn off a home in Geraldton and sent flying down the road. And a ceiling collapsed at this Perth home, dumping a mountain of debris throughout the house. Giant swells have destroyed an iconic tourist attraction at Yallingup in the southwest. And there were eerie scenes in WA's Midwest, coastal towns blanketed by a dust storm. With almost 60 millimetres of rain falling in Perth, it didn't take long before the Swan River was overflowing, engulfing jetties and footpaths and flooding our major roads. The unusually wild weather was the result of an ex-tropical cyclone and a cold front coming together to make a rare and dangerous weather event. Lee Steele for 10 News First.
Australians dug deep this summer, helping to raise more than $50 million in bushfire relief in an online campaign from Aussie comedian Celeste Barber, but hopes the money could be shared more widely than the New South Wales Rural Fire Service have been dashed. The Supreme Court ruled the money belongs to the organisation's trust and cannot be shared with other charities or fire brigades.
Despite the trustees' wish to honour those intentions or hopes, the law provides principles that ensure a degree of certainty in the application of trust funds.
The funds can be spent on supporting injured firefighters and the families of those killed in action, mental health resources and upskilling RFS volunteers. Coming up, from age to gender, the largest demographic cashing in on their early super access. Also going back to the classroom to tackle debilitating allergies. Plus the demolition marking the end of an era in Victoria. And in sport, Andrew McCulloch opens up on his departure from the Broncos.
Where the $51 million raised during the bushfire crisis by celeb Celeste Barber will be spent. Plus, comedian Troy Kinney joins us for a laugh next.
Going crazy stuck at home? Want help to cook up some fun? Why not get your Hungry Jack's flame-grilled favourites delivered now with Uber Eats or Menulog? With easier online ordering, the burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
Tough, refined, exceptional value. A BT50 stands out. At the Mazda Standout End of Financial Year event, get a 2019 plate Mazda BT50 XT 4x4 dual cab with ABN bonus from $37,490 drive away.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of your dinner with some of the key ingredients for delicious beef and thyme burgers. Like Coles brioche buns, 4-pack, just $2.70 every day. And Coles frozen chips, 1 kilo pack, down to $1.90. With Coles beef and thyme burgers on Mix, Match and Save, any of these 2 packs for just $12. For more great recipes and weekly specials, sign up for the digital catalogue at coles.com.au. Coles, good things, great value.
Go ahead, give your taste buds a thrill and think beyond the flame and grill. Sausage baked, rolled, pan-fried or in a stew. You'll love all the things our sausages can do. The British Sausage Ham and Bacon Company. Australian made, the British way.
Are you unable to work due to illness or injury? You could claim insurance as part of your super. Talk to Australia's #1 law firm today. Morris Blackburn Lawyers will maximise your claim. Call for your free super check now. It costs nothing to know where you stand.
The COVID-19 crisis brings unprecedented internet traffic over the NBN network. To help support Australia during this time, we currently offer internet providers up to 40% increased network capacity. Our technicians are still on the ground, connecting homes and businesses. And we're sharing updated tips to help you get more from your home setup. To find out more, visit nbn.com.au/response.
As a proud Australian company, Andersons are keeping it real with our first ever Australian-made sale, supporting our local manufacturers. For a limited time, you'll save 20% off the entire range of premium Australian-made floor coverings and window furnishings store-wide. We have stock ready for your home, rental property or business. So call Andersons today for a free, safe in-home design consultation. Now that's a real deal.
G'day guys, Tommy Little here, and these are my ISO diaries. I figured why pay $10 for sushi when I could just make it myself? So I went out and bought all this stuff like rice, avocado, this mini futon thing, and have a look at this. Cost me $42 for all that stuff.
Menulog delivery!
Did somebody say Menulog?
The good old MasterChef relay.
It'll be the toughest team relay ever attempted.
We're doing 2 dishes instead of 1.
You must keep a safe distance from each other at all times.
It's not going to be easy.
Oh my God. I can't believe I've done this. I've cut my little finger. Oh, this is not good. This is not good.
The toughest team relay. 7:30 tonight on 10.
And
MasterChef's greatest ever dish is coming.
It was a policy supposed to help us get through COVID-19, and we now have a better idea of exactly who is withdrawing the most money from their super. Concerningly, it is a lot of young people, and that means it could cost them tens of thousands of dollars in retirement. So far, about $10.6 billion has been paid out, and of the 1.59 million applications received by the ATO, the majority have been accepted. The average amount accessed is just over $7.5 grand out of a maximum $10 grand this financial year, and men are taking out the most, about 40% or $2 billion more than women. And that makes sense when we look at the difference in accounts. Men have about $333,000 in super compared to $245,000 for women at the age of 55 to 64. But one of the most shocking statistics, as we mentioned, were young people the most likely to take out money, under 35, accounting for half of all claims. Let's take a look at the share market now. It's a strong performance across the board today. The ASX 200 finishing up about 2.16%. The travel sector was among the high flyers after the Treasurer hinted at some extra support for the tourism sector. Webjet and Flight Centre both up by about 15%. Afterpay surged too, and three of the big banks had strong gains. CBA was the worst performer of the four, but still ended in the green. Taking a look at the dollar now, the currency market isn't moving too much, but right now the Australian dollar is buying 65.2 US cents.
Researchers are going back to school in their push to beat hay fever and allergies. Year 11 and 12 students have been recruited to help QUT track when potentially deadly pollen is likely to be in the air.
Down by the creek, where the grass grows tall, classes in for Lucy and Tabitha from Corinda State High School.
Yeah, that's one. See, that's a panicle.
It started out as a good way to keep agricultural students stuck at home during the COVID-19 lockdown engaged.
I was excited to be able to get out the house for one of my lessons. Yeah, it was good to get out into the sun, which was a bit different.
The enthusiastic workforce has been collecting and identifying flowering grass species for QUT's Allergy Research Group.
To help us understand when grasses are in flower and what types of grasses are flowering at different times of the year around our local area.
The joint school-university project's been so successful, it's likely other schools will be signed up across the country.
To reinforce and say, hey, this is something that's actually relevant to the real world.
So if a packet of tissues are your constant companion every allergy and hay fever season, you'll be wishing more power to the work these students are doing to make things for you a little bit more bearable. Extreme pollen count days can claim lives, so the students' work could help crack some important research questions.
Knowing when the hay fever season is going to peak, knowing when daily grass pollen levels are high, gives people a sense of control over managing their own allergies, and it helps them feel a lot safer.
And it seems that grassroots researchers are more than keen.
Just to know that we can help people with allergies, or maybe discover a way to maybe control them or help them in their everyday lives is actually really cool.
Tim Collins for 10 News First.
Today marked the end of an era at one of Australia's biggest power stations. 8 chimneys were reduced to rubble at Victoria's Hazelwood Power Station. It was decommissioned 3 years ago, but for half a century, Hazelwood provided a quarter of that state's electricity. The site will be turned into a lake, which will take 11 years to fill. Well, Jono's back now with another look at sport.
Thank you, Georgie. Hello again. The AFL has released the next 4 rounds of their fixtures and confirmed the South East Queensland bubble will go ahead. It's good news for the Lions, who will play all their games at the Gabba, but the Suns haven't fared as well.
The West Australian and South Australian clubs are doing the early heavy lifting, but the AFL has warned they won't be the only ones.
My sense is over the 16 weeks that teams, not just those 4 teams, but other teams are going to have to make sacrifices, and everyone's committed to that.
Which means some Victorian teams will head to an interstate hub to share the load if border restrictions aren't eased. The 4 WA and South Australian clubs are expected to stay in Queensland, even if measures change between now and the season's start.
The plan at the moment is certainly to leave them in Queensland for that period, and we need to create some certainty.
So round 2 kicks off with Collingwood and Richmond and features the Hawks and Cats and the Showdown. Round 3 has Richmond hosting Hawthorn on a Thursday night, with the Lions hosting the Eagles at the Gabba on Saturday. The Swans host the Dogs at the SCG to kick off round 4. The Giants welcome the Magpies the following night, and there's another big Queensland hub match with Port Adelaide playing West Coast. Richmond travels to Queensland to play West Coast to start round 5 again on a Thursday night. Collingwood and Essendon feature Friday night, while Hawthorn plays its second consecutive Sunday night match against the Giants as part of an AFL experiment.
This is a real opportunity to trial some things. It works, or has worked in round 1 without crowds.
And the AFL hasn't given up on crowds at the footy this year in some form.
Any opportunity to have fans attend games, and I'm sure clubs would love to find a way to reward members or fans, if they're smaller groups, we'll certainly embrace.
We're just really hopeful that we can get back to play, and we can give them the experience of coming back and reward them for their loyalty.
Rob Waters for 10 News First.
He may have been on the outer, but former Bronco Andrew McCulloch says there's no bad blood with his old club. The veteran hooker trained with Newcastle for the first time today, just days after being released by the Broncos, after 13 years at Red Hill.
I think I've enough runs on the board to think that I wasn't a selfish person and that I just wanted to go down and, with the opportunity that Adam presented and to do my best.
McCulloch says he won't watch the Broncos game when they restart the season against Parramatta on Thursday night. The Reds may have returned to training without Isaac Roddo, Harry Hockings and Isaac Lucas, but Captain Liam Wright praised his remaining teammates for not following the same path, despite recent pay cuts.
We have a lot of guys here who made the decision to stick with us, and that's something I'm very proud of, and I think speaks a lot to the culture that we've got building here.
The skipper believes the trio's exit will galvanise the group in the lead up to a potential domestic competition relaunch. Six-time Super Bowl champion Tom Brady has finally showed a chink in his armour. The star quarterback had a round to forget in golf's Champions for Charity event before doing what Tom Brady does, producing the play of the day.
A four-ball for the ages. Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning pitted against Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady. There were no caddies, but if there were...
do you bring Eli? Could do that. You bring Nick Foles? Maybe. Cheap shot.
The ribbing was relentless all day. Brady butchered his start. He struggled off the tee.
Yikes. Hey, when's football season start? It's about a month.
Proving he's human after all, and the world relished every minute.
God dang it.
While Brady went bush, Peyton proved pretty handy, making 2 birdies on the front 9 as he and Woods went 3 up through 6.
Bam. Oh, Peyton Manning. Partner.
It was the first time in 3 months anyone's got a look at Tiger on the course, with the PGA Tour set to resume in a fortnight. He didn't miss a fairway and was just as sharp with his tongue.
I've seen Phil do some odd things before, but having teed up mark that ball has got to be up there.
Want me to use one of my U.S. Open medals? Do you have one? Huh? Do you have any? I got some silver ones. Do you have any of the gold ones?
He didn't have it all his own way.
Did you feel when I sucked the energy toward me, Tiger?
And it was Brady who had the last laugh when Brooks Koepka pledged $100,000 if the star quarterback made par on the front 9. Brady did what Brady does best.
Oh, go in! Yeah! Goodness! You made it!
But it came at a cost.
Change pants or?
I split my pants.
You got so excited that you split your pants after making that?
Well, there's so much torque in that swing.
Oh, gotcha.
Woods and Manning finished 1 up, but the result never really mattered, with $20 million US raised for COVID-19 relief. Katie Price for 10 News First.
The banter was almost as good as how much they raised for charity there.
Very good indeed.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jono. Well, coming up, Josh has the extended forecast for the southeast.
Want to win a year's supply of groceries thanks to Coles? Then grab tonight's code word and head to the 10play win page to enter, and you could be a winner. Plus, be watching MasterChef 7:30 tonight for the bonus code word to double your chances.
A third-generation butcher, born and bred. Pop's traditional recipes fill his head. His award-winning sausages are so sublime, you can enjoy these beauties anytime. The British Sausage, Ham and Bacon Company. Australian made the British way.
If you're gonna wear a red lip, commit to it. Not the guy, the lip.
Somebody, come on.
With Light and Easy, you can still enjoy a huge variety of delicious, healthy meals in the comfort and safety of your home, thanks to their chefs and dietitians and their contactless delivery service. In fact, Light and Easy has recently been rated Australia's #1 healthy meal delivery service, scoring 5 stars for customer satisfaction as well as taste, variety and freshness, all things you'll find on their autumn menu. Enjoy delicious, healthy meals with Light and Easy's contactless, award-winning delivery. Order today.
Unpolished beauty. It defines our country, and at Stratco, it's what we do. Custom crafting, roofing and cladding solutions for remarkable Australian homes. Colorbond Steel's stunning matte finish, brought to life by Stratco How To.
Discover new details about your family history with Ancestry. Simply type in a name and let Ancestry guide you on a journey of discovery. Start searching for free at ancestry.com.au.
At IGA, you'll find great specials this week, like Nescafe coffee sachets 8 to 10 pack varieties, $3.15 each, half price. Cadbury chocolate blocks 150 to 190 gram varieties, $2.50 each, also half price. Great specials at your local IGA. Save 20% on your second policy when you buy new eligible Suncorp home and car insurance together before July 10. Helping you save when you need it most. That's the Suncorp spirit.
If you're struggling to balance work, life and family, you need to shake it up. Ensure Health Shakes help you get the nutrition you need to help your body build strength from within, with a prebiotic and antioxidants to support a healthy immune system, calcium and protein for muscle and bone health. Put more balance in your work-life balance. Shake it up with Ensure.
When your child is seriously ill, the everyday moments matter most. Help family life carry on at Ronald McDonald House.
For 20 years, you've been fighting to save people money on their car and home insurance. Who are you?
Budget Direct, helping Australians save on insurance.
Up next, a ruling on where millions raised by comedian Celeste Barber's bushfire appeal can legally be spent. Funny man Troy Kinney's dropping by with his grand plan to make Monday nights even better, and how Tracy's MasterChef dream was foiled by the fish dish from hell. The project next.
Well, time now for a final weather check. Josh, a sunny week ahead.
Yeah, that's right, Georgie. Beautiful blue skies across parts of Queensland over the next few days. We're going to get those chilly starts first thing in the morning, but of course the trade-off, those beautiful afternoons will follow. And looking at the synoptic chart, you can see tomorrow very light winds across areas of Queensland. We've got great separation there between the isobars, but a different story a little bit further south for New South Wales. We've got a low pressure system still driving in some strong winds and damaging surf conditions, and a cold front which delivered quite a burst of severe weather across the southwest of WA will start to push into southern areas of South Australia as we get through Tuesday. But further north, it's a calm scenario unfolding for Queensland. Looking absolutely beautiful once again. No rainfall predicted as we get through tomorrow. However, early morning frost patches certainly a feature across areas of the southeast inlands, in particular for areas of the Darling Downs and Granite Belt. Up to the states, North Cairns, partly cloudy and 26 degrees. Sunny skies for Atherton and Townsville. Much the same for Mackay and Rocky tomorrow. 24 degrees the top for Bundaberg, Maryborough and Gympie. And we're looking at a chilly start for Rome. Again, down to 3 overnight, 20 degrees through the afternoon. It will be fine. It will be sunny for the southeast for Tuesday. Patches of light frost in the south early morning. Overnight temperatures falling to between 3 and 12 degrees. Daytime temperatures reaching the low to mid-20s. We're going for 24 at Logan after an overnight low of 7 degrees, 23 at Caboolture and 18 degrees out on the Darling Downs for Toowoomba. Into Brisbane City. Sydney, tops of 24 tomorrow. That's right on average for this time of year. Overnight lows getting down to around about 13. So again, another chilly start first thing tomorrow morning. We're looking at 14 degrees first thing on Wednesday. Partly cloudy skies at the top of 25 degrees. 25 again, the top on Thursday. 24 Friday. And the same mark on Saturday, 25 on Sunday. But as you can see, staying very dry over the next few days. No rainfall on the chart at this stage. 25 the top for Ipswich tomorrow. Overnight lows of 5 degrees, 7 degrees Wednesday morning, and then 26 through Wednesday afternoon and into Thursday. Staying fine and dry for Friday and then across Saturday and Sunday. For the Gold Coast, fine and sunny tomorrow, tops of 24 degrees, hitting the same mark Wednesday and Thursday. Partly cloudy and staying that way on Friday with a top of 23 degrees. Again, a fine weekend on the horizon at this stage. And for the sunny coast, looking glorious once again, 23 tomorrow and Wednesday. Partly cloudy Thursday and just a possible shower on Friday. Nothing much in that with a top of 23 degrees. And at this stage, a fine weekend on the way, 23 Saturday and 24 degrees on Sunday. So a nice forecast on the way, Georgie.
Looking like it. Thank you, Josh. That is 10 News First for now. For details on tonight's bulletin, head to 10play.com.au. But stay on 10. The project is next. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.
Tonight, a ruling on where millions raised by comedian Celeste Barber's bushfire appeal can legally